Today we are going to be learning about Shakespeare and introduce Midsummer's Night Dream. So click on today's agenda and then you'll open 6 reasons to read Shakespeare. And then you'll want to click on this link down here so that you can open it. You'll come back and click on this to attach it later. So it should look like this when you open it. And then what you're going to do is annotate this article, and you'll do that through Google Docs by adding comments up at the top. So you'll click on that. Sometimes it just immediately lets you add a comment, and sometimes it comes up with a little box. And then in the corner, it has this, but instead of lines, it has a plus. You'll have to click on that. How you'll do this is you will want to select the words that you want to add an annotation to, and then click on Add Comment. So right here, I did an 8 because that's a link, and I said Shakespeare's play. I went to Hamlet with my friend in high school, and I did not understand any of it because I didn't read the playbill. And the playbill is that pamphlet that they give you beforehand that has a summary of the play, which is super helpful when you are reading Shakespeare because he uses a lot of big words. And if you don't understand those big words, you definitely want to read the playbill. I learned that the hard way when I went to Hamlet with my friends in high school. Next, I said, in almost every country and in any language, they know Shakespeare quite well. I did an exclamation point and said, I didn't know that Shakespeare was so popular. Then the next one I said, his reach is extensive. I didn't understand what that meant, so I did a circle and then I looked it up and it said that his popularity affects a large number of people and places. When you are circling words that you don't know, you can also circle phrases. I didn't know what this one meant, and it took me a second to Google what it meant. Make sure that you're clicking comment after every single annotation that you make. And then for a question, it said the second interpretation is the one that has borne out. I didn't understand what borne out meant. And so I put a question and said, does that mean that the second option of he is always different is the one that seems to be the most true? And then I put a comment. If I find out the answer to this one, I'll come back and add it later. And then stars are the main points of the article. And so they are giving me 6 reasons why Shakespeare is still relevant. This is reason number 1. So I highlighted it and put a star and said reason number 1 is he has affected the English language. And then I found evidence. In my paper, I actually underlined the evidence that I found, but you don't have to do that. You can just put an underscore and then say evidence of how he has affected the language. That's what I did in this one. And then it's really important that you find evidence because this is what you are going to answer next is how do we benefit from reading or studying Shakespeare today? So as you are reading, I would look for evidence of how we benefit from reading Shakespeare today because that will help you when you go to write your tail paragraph later. So it is now your turn. You are going to add annotations throughout the entire article. Here is this up here to remind you. You have to have one of these and 2 of your evidence because you will probably want to have at least 1 or 2 pieces of evidence in your tail paragraph. When you are done, come back and we can continue on with the next part of the lesson. All right, now you need to identify the following parts of this article. You'll have to find the author, publication date, title, and author's purpose. You will then also type a 1-sentence main idea of what the entire article is. Push pause, add that to your paper, and then come back. All right, now we are going to write our 6 to 9 sentence teal paragraph answering this question, how do we benefit from reading and studying Shakespeare today? Remember, TEAL stands for topic sentence, evidence, analysis, and then your linking sentence is your concluding sentence that restates your topic sentence. A lot of people are forgetting that your evidence should prove your topic sentence. Your analysis should explain how this evidence proves your topic sentence, and then the link restates the topic sentence. You are doing that in 6 to 9 sentences, and then you will come back to your Canvas and push submit on this assignment. Next up, we are going to look at a biography of Shakespeare. This comic strip gives a little bit of history on him. You have access to this on your quiz, so I'm not going to go through that, but make sure that you read it because it gives you some of the answers to the quiz. However, you don't have access to this on the quiz, so I am going to go through this with you. More facts about Shakespeare. Shakespeare is widely considered to be the best playwright of all time. Much of Shakespeare's background is not known. Historians only have his written works books and court and church records to construct the details of his life. It is widely believed that Shakespeare arrived in London in the mid to late 1980s to work as a horse attendant at theaters in London in order to gain entry into the world of the theater. Some of Shakespeare's earlier plays weren't always popular. London playwright Robert Greene called him an upstart crow in a local newspaper. Shakespeare became very wealthy as a result of his work. He bought the second largest house in Stratford. The Globe Theatre was built on the south side of the Thames River by Shakespeare and his business partner. 99. A replica of it still exists today in London, and many cities around the world have created versions of it. Shakespeare wrote three types of plays: histories, tragedies, and comedies. His works were mostly histories or dramatizations of historical events and people. His comedies feature characters in absurd situations and sometimes feature mistaken identity through cross dressing. The general rule of thumb is that at the end of comedies, everyone gets married. Popular Shakespeare comedies include A Midsummer's Night Dream, The Taming of the Shrew, and Twelfth Night. Tragedies feature noble characters in tragic situations, usually as a result of a fatal flaw. The general rule of thumb with tragedies is that everyone dies in the end. Shakespeare's highly regarded tragedies include Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth. Several common phrases we use today from Shakespeare's plays: A Fool's Paradise, A Sea Change, As Dead as a Doornail, Fair Play, and Good Riddance. About 150 years after his death, questions arose about whether or not Shakespeare actually wrote his plays. While it is true that Shakespeare plays were often adapted from other sources, most Shakespeare scholars agree that Shakespeare was indeed the author of his plays. So now you're going to go back to the agenda, click on quiz in the bio, and then you will take the quiz. You can take it up to 2 times, and I'll take whatever score is best. So just take the quiz, and then you are all done with today's lessons. If you have any questions, please reach out and let me know.